Hello viewers, let us enjoy a very nice poem from the literature section. The title of the poem, as it visualized before you, all of you, is known as the Ball poem. It has been composed by John Berryman. John Berryman was a renowned poet of 20th century. He was from America, therefore we can call him as an American poet. He was a scholar, no doubt. In his lifetime, he has composed many poems. Those poems were very popular. He was a major figure of the 20th century, and he was considered as a key figure in the confessional school of poetry. The present poem provides us the picture of a boy. The boy was playing with the ball when it bounced down the street into the sea. The poet says that the ball was very dear to the boy. He never considered the possibility that he might lose the ball. Now that he has lost it, he is grief-stricken. He is extremely sorrowful. He realizes that it was his responsibility to keep the ball safe. But he had failed in his duty. He also realizes that things will get lost from time to time and money simply cannot replace them. Gains and losses are part and parcel of life. As the little boy learns these lessons, he is growing up. The poet says that he is learning the harsh realities of life, and in the process he is losing his innocence. The poem is symbolical, and yet it has deep meaning too. The boy's ball is symbolic of his young and happy days and his innocence. Moreover, losing of a ball is a symbol of lost relations or dead loved one and wealth. Wealth cannot bring back life and time. In this world, people will take away our innocence and force us to grow up. And once we lose the innocence, we can never get it back. This poem goes to show how all throughout our life we will be forced to do things that we don't want to do, and we will lose or have to give up the things that we love. No doubt, the present poem is significantly composed by the poet John Berryman. As the line simply explains, what is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go, merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There is in the water. These lines simply put the question before the reader. He has seen a young boy. The ball is in his hand, but that is now rolling away from him, bouncing happily on its way, and finally falling into the water. The poet asks his reader what the boy should do now. The language is quite simple. There is a question raised by the poet himself. Now the ball is in the water and the boy should do what? The boy is in a position. He was not in a proper position. What to do or not to do is the basic question before the boy. The poet further explains, no use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would now intrude on him a dime, another ball is worthless now. These lines simply explains about the moment that he ought to console the boy who has lost his ball by telling him that there will be another ball just like that, which he will come across sooner or later. However, he understands that such false consolation will not make the boy feel any better. A feeling of grief has come over the boy. He stands very straight for some time. He had nothing to do at that very time. He was silent. He has no ideas what to do or not to do. He watches the ball going into the harbor and downs in the water, and he feels that his childhood has also taken the same route away from him. At such a time, the poet feels that it would be wrong to go up to the boy and say or intrude on his solitude. The poet had picturized a very beautiful situation of that little boy's brain. No doubt the poet is talking about the ball that has been lost, but indirectly, symbolically, the poet is talking about the life. Further, he explains, he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up knowing what every man must one day know. Another beautiful thinking of the boy is exposed in these lines. The poet tells us that the little boy is undergoing a transformation. He is just now coming to the realization that the ball was his responsibility. As many things will be after this. In this world, everything you own is your own responsibility, and you must keep those things safe. However, nothing you will be yours forever. The world is transitory. Whatever you have, you can't continue it for lifetime. Other people will take your ball, or it will get lost in some way or the other. The poet further explains, no one will buy another ball for you. Money is only something you can show off. But ultimately, it cannot buy you inner peace. No doubt, money can purchase everything you want. But that is not successful. Money is not successful to provide you mental and inner peace. Here, in these lines, ball is a symbol for all of one's possession. Ball has been used symbolically in this poem, and it shows whatever the possessions you have. And the poet is explaining that we will certainly lose them one day, whatever the possession we have, and that cannot be easily replaced. In this world, whatever we the people possess, that can't go for a long time. Because the world is transitional. It is not immortal. Human beings and his desire is not immortal. Whatever the things available on this earth, one day that will perish. The poet further explains, and gradually light returns to the street, a whistle blows. The ball is out of sight. Soon part of me will explore the deep and dark floor of the harbor. I am everywhere. I suffer and move. My mind and my heart move with all that move me under the water, or whistling. I am not a little boy. Marvelous line these are. These lines simply explains and says that the boy's eyes have become filled with an awful sadness. The boy is not in a position to say because he has lost the ball, as we the human being lost everything whatever we possess in our life. It is symbolically explained by the poet. But that behind all the grief, the boy is learning an important lesson. He is learning about the loss of things one considers precious. He is learning a lesson that every man must learn, and one that man must learn again and again, because learning starts when a person takes birth and it finishes when a person dies. Learning is quite essential. We the people must know about the harsh realities of the world. He is learning also how to accept the loss. Acceptance of loss is quite important because that satisfies our heart. Therefore, the boy is learning how to accept the loss and then move on. Suddenly, the boy is brought back to his senses after hearing the sound of a whistle nearby. He can no longer see the ball at all because the ball has been lost completely. The poet has used the poetic device to enhance the beauty of this poem. In this poem, the poet has used metaphor, apostrophe, and transferred epithet. This figure of a speech helps to create wonderful effect of the poem. As we learn and understand this poem simply conveys the message that as we grow up, we lose our innocence. Innocence is quite essential for a child. And as a child grows up, gradually he has started losing his innocence. The poet says that this innocence is quite precious as we can never get it back after we have lost it. Once innocence has been lost, once childhood has been lost, that cannot return back in human's life. It is true. We have to learn to accept it as life has to be lived and not wasted in grieving over the losses suffered in the past. Very nice and a straightforward message has been delivered by the poet, as the purpose of literature is. We know very well that poetry, as this definition had been given by William Wordsworth, poetry simply known as a spontaneous overflow of emotion recollected in tranquility. This definition has been given by Wordsworth, William Wordsworth, the renowned romantic nature poet of 19th century. We get the beauty in this poem. We get the real explanation of a life in this poem. This poem is symbolical, no doubt. The poet is talking about losing a ball of a boy, but indirectly he is talking about losing everything in this world, whatever we the people possess. That is not of permanent nature. That is transitional and temporary. So we should learn and we should accept the harsh realities of the world, as in this poem the boy finally accepts the harsh realities of the ball, that he will never get the same ball again because that is in water. With this study, you can feel comfortable to write the summary, to appreciate the poem, and to provide the answer of those questions that has been given in your chapter known as the ball poem. With these words, I conclude myself. saying all of you a big thanks. Thank you very much.